In Iran, President Nicolas Maduro and his counterpart Syed Ibrahim Raisi led the ceremony for the delivery of an oil tanker built within the framework of the Comprehensive Bilateral Cooperation Agreement. In Colombia, the presidential candidates advanced in their campaigns for the second round to be held on June 19th. And this Sunday, France goes to the polls. In the first round of parliamentary elections, no incidents have been reported so far. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. President Nicolas Maduro and his counterpart Syed Ibrahim Raisi led the ceremony for the delivery of a tanker built within the framework of the Comprehensive Bilateral Cooperation Agreement. President Nicolas Maduro and President Ibrahim Raisi celebrated the delivery of the Aframax tanker Joraco, built by the shipping company Satra, and which has a cargo capacity of between 80,000 and 125,000 tons of oil. Aframaxes are tankers used in canals, fluvial areas, or shallow draft ports. The vessel is the second of the four requested by the government of Caracas. The president of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, also thanked the efforts of Sadra Maritime Company and announced that 2 more ships are in the manufacturing process intended for the people of Venezuela.
Once again, thanking all the efforts of the maritime industrial company Cedra, also recognizing and thanking the efforts of the engineers and workers of that company. I would like to inform that the third and fourth vessels are also in the process of being manufactured, and I hope that as soon as possible they will be ready to be delivered.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro highlighted the importance of the binational project.
A great achievement to have the second vessel. Next year, we will get the third vessel, in 2024 the fourth vessel, thus completing this phase of the plan. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
President Maduro praised Iran's progress in industrial development.
The delivery of this modern and powerful ship demonstrates the industrial capacity of the Islamic Republic of Iran, truly admirable.
Iran and Venezuela have signed a 20-year cooperation agreement. President Syed Ibrahim Raisi of Iran and Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela signed a 20-year strategic cooperation agreement, according to a press conference given after holding an exchange in Tehran. Among the novelties of the bilateral appearance is the reactivation of direct flights Caracas-Tehran in order to promote tourism between both countries. Meanwhile, the Persian president assures that this measure will bring the peoples closer together and express his willingness to consolidate bilateral ties fruitful.
We have great areas of cooperation between Iran and Venezuela at the energy sector, oil, gas, refineries, petrochemicals, at the financial sector with the National Development Bank of Iran and Venezuela, and at the defense sector with the combination of productive capacity of Iran and Venezuela.
During his speech in the framework of the meeting with his Iranian counterpart, the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, informed about the execution of a direct flight that will connect both capitals in order to promote tourism and unity between both nations.
On July 18th, we'll start the direct flight Caracas-Tehran, which will promote tourism and the unity between our people. Venezuela and President Raisi is open to receive tourism from Iran, so that they can go and enjoy the beauties of the Caribbean, South America, the Andes, and the Amazon.
The Venezuelan president also stressed that both nations are working to continue increasing technological cooperation in order to increase food production with their own resources in Venezuelan soil.
That is why the Minister of Agriculture, Wilmer Castro Soteldo, came to this visit in order to focus on 2 things. First, technological cooperation to produce more food in Venezuela, to learn from all this impressive experience, to continue increasing our food production with our own resources in Venezuelan soils.
The president of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, stressed the great capabilities and progress achieved with Venezuela in terms of cooperation and friendship between the two peoples.
All the progress achieved in this cooperation between both countries and governments in terms of energy, power plants, repair, and updating of refineries, export of technical and engineering services, economic relations, and also in terms of military defense and agricultural relations. All this shows that there is a huge potential and capacity to further develop our relations and ability in both countries to move forward with the relationship.
The Persian leader Ibrahim Raisi also stressed that the direct flight established between the two countries is expected to further promote trade and increase the proximity between the peoples of Tehran and Caracas.
And the other point is the issue of the direct flight established between the two countries, which in addition to increasing the movement between Tehran and Caracas, can help to further promote to bring economic and trade relations between the two countries to a growing point and also bring the two peoples even closer together.
And in other news, teleSUR expands its signal with new satellite parameters since more than ever the world connects to us and our stories are being heard in other faraway nations. These parameters are in place since June 1st in Latin America and the Caribbean, both in English and in Spanish, and quite soon further changes will be implemented for the signals in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This new multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and our faithfulness to our audience. We are now going to take a short break. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. In Colombia, the presidential candidates advanced in their campaigns for the second round. According to the most recent poll, the candidate of the historic pact, Gustavo Petro, has 50.3% of support in the voting intention, whereas his contender, Rodolfo Hernandez, has 46.3%. Meanwhile, the blank vote remained with a 5%. This shows, with 9 days to the presidential elections, a trend of Petro in maintaining and increasing in voting intention, while Hernandez, who achieved an unexpected rise in the polls of the first round, fails to maintain votes and even drops in the next ones. In Bolivia, Interior Ministry authorities celebrated the 10-year prison sentence for Gianni Áñez, considering that the tribunal's decision set a historic precedent. The Minister of Interior, Eduardo del Castillo, highlighted as historic the sentence against Áñez for the self-proclamation and the violation of the rules of constitutional succession in 2019. The Minister of Justice and Institutional Transparency of Bolivia, Ivan Lima Magnin, pointed out that the sentence proves all the violations incurred by Áñez when senator. He recalled the sentence was issued within the framework of the principles and guarantees of the process and completed a phase in the recovering of democracy. He considered the tribunal's decision serves to ensure that under any circumstances a person may appoint him or herself president. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador toured communities affected by Hurricane Agatha in the state of Oaxaca. When visiting the Mazunte community, López Obrador was met by some 600 people who thanked the president for taking an interest in the situation they are facing after Hurricane Agatha. López Obrador reminded those affected that they are not alone and said he would return to the town in the next few days with a local government action plan to support the victims. AMLO was accompanied by State Governor Alejandro Murat, by Defense Secretary Luis Crescencio Sandoval, and by the head of the Navy, Rafael Ojeda Duran. At the end of the day, the Mexican president reiterated his commitment to the affected communities and announced that a survey had to be made to assist them in an efficient manner. Russia's defense ministry has confirmed the destruction of a foreign mercenary base in Ukraine. Russia's ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov said Russian military forces have destroyed a mercenary base in the Avdiivka region in the Kharkov province. He said the attack was carried out with high-precision air-launched missiles, which disabled the military facility. Konashenkov said that since the start of the Russian military operation in Ukraine, Russian forces have destroyed 198 aircraft, 130 helicopters, 1,180 drones, 337 anti-aircraft missile systems, 3,503 armored combat vehicles, among other combat vehicles and weaponry. A Polish lawmaker has called the decision to impose an embargo on Russian coal imports as a hasty one. Paweł Pączilius, a member of the civil coalition, said declaring a total embargo on all energy sources from Russia was a hasty decision that should have been given some extra thought, because a sharp reduction in coal supplies will hit ordinary Polish citizens the hardest. He said it will take at least a year and a half for Poland to increase its own coal production. Late March, Poland announced it had decided to call off all energy imports from Russia, and on May 23rd, it decided to hold any deliveries of natural gas from Russia ahead of schedule. An already signed and enforced bilateral agreement foresaw such deliveries to continue till the end of 2022. That is up to 10 million cubic meters of Russian gas per year. In Turkey, the heavy floods that hit the capital on Saturday left at least one person dead. Authorities say rescue workers found the body of a 27-year-old man. The man was a bus driver. Ankara Mayor Mansur Yavaş said that so far 35 people have been rescued. The search and rescue operation continues, and it involves over 3,000 rescue workers. We have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. French voters are casting their ballot in the first round of parliamentary elections as President Emmanuel Macron seeks to secure his majority amid a resurgent left-wing coalition. Polling stations opened at 8 a.m. local time on Sunday after voters in overseas territories cast ballots earlier in the weekend. About 48 million citizens are eligible to vote. Elections for the 577 seats in the Lower House National Assembly are a two-round process. More than 6,000 candidates ranging in age from 18 to 92 are running to win seats in the National Assembly in the first round of the election. Those who receive the most votes will advance to the decisive round on June 19th. In the United Kingdom, a judge approved an initiative aimed at deporting asylum seekers from Rwanda. The British judiciary on Friday rejected a claim introduced by human rights groups and authorized the government to send illegal Rwandan immigrants back to their country. Judge Jonathan Swift said at the end of the hearing that there was no evidence of mistreatment or expulsion of refugees from Rwanda while their asylum claims were being processed. According to the immigration scheme proposed by the United Kingdom, immigrants who cross the channel illegally will be deported to refugee camps built in Rwanda, while their immigration status is normalized. In Italy, the corpses of 7 people were found in a helicopter. Authorities reported that among the corpses were 4 Turkish nationals and 2 Lebanese. The bodies were found 2 days after the crash. A hiker alerted the rescue teams when he found the wreckage of the crashed aircraft. The helicopter had taken off from the town of Lucca and was heading for the Treviso area when it lost control due to a heavy storm in northern Apennine mountain range in the province of Modena. And thousands of people gathered in the center of Rome on Saturday to celebrate the return of the Rome Gay Pride in the streets of the Italian capital after the COVID lockdowns. LGBTQIA+ activists filled the Roman streets with colors and music in the parade from Piazza della Repubblica in the front of the Termini railway station to reach Piazza Venezia. Pride participants demonstrated not only for the right to choose whichever sexuality without being discriminated against, but also for the right to not being discriminated because of the color of their skin or because of different religious beliefs. On Saturday, Australia's government announced a €555 million compensation agreement with the French shipyard Naval Group for the violation of a submarine supply contract. The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese affirmed that the compensation is fair and equitable. The agreement broken by the oceanic country amounted to about €56 million, unleashed a diplomatic crisis, and threatened to unbalance a trade agreement between the Australians and the European Union. For his part, the French Defense Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, welcomed the agreement, qualifying it as equitable. The Syrian government reported that one of the runways at Damascus International Airport was left inoperable after an Israeli bombing. The Syrian Ministry of Transport informed in a statement that the civil aviation and the respective national companies are working to repair the significant damage. It also specified that the traffic, which was suspended, will resume once the works are completed and the airport security is guaranteed. According to local media, the attack perpetrated by Israel left one civilian wounded. Regarding the attacks, the Syrian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Faisal al-Muqdad, declared that his country would defend itself from the Israeli aggression by all legitimate means. This Saturday, the pan-Arabic channel Al Mayadeen celebrates 10 years of continuous transmission, bringing together all the peoples of the world to the truthful and committed information. Al Mayadeen is a pan-Arabic satellite television channel launched on June 11, 2012 in Beirut, Lebanon, broadcasting mainly news. Its motto is "Reality as it is," and its editorial policy puts emphasis on Palestine and resistance movements when they are located as its point of reference. The name of the channel, Al Mayadeen, means fields, indicating its goal, which is to give coverage to the actions of the Arab peoples, usually distorted by the hegemonic communication centers controlled directly or indirectly by Zionism, to be heard, seen, and valued in all its scope. And we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.